2.0, how do you create, Timmac, this crazy, cop that everybody loves? How do you because I guess like how do
Being a
you
cop in the beginning was hard to get, by the way. It took a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like as far as like being a cadet or just even getting to that point?
Getting to that point. It's like how the cops are right now.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of cops that have, I had my cop, background on fam, and so it was like I did a lot of cop work, and then I came over and it was like, oh shit, well, can I be cop? It's like, can I get this going? And then, it was kind of like this hello. Just trying to get a response, and see where things are at. Like, can I get hooked up? But it wasn't as many spots, and I don't know. It's cops. The cop force has always been a weird one. Like trying to get involved if like you're not in it already.
Yeah.
So it's getting through that first wall that's always kind of like awkward
and that's a you main cop for a very long time, right?
I love it. I love it. There's something about because like I said, coming up with stuff is kind of a hard thing, and you can do that as a cop, but like getting involved in being an assist to someone else's scene or whatever they're doing, like it's so much easier to I thrive in that environment. That's like where I can really kind of gauge and look around and assess the situation and start like building up places where I think it could use some help, or or like really bring some fun to it, or whatever it might be. But yeah, Mac was supposed to be just kind of I don't really know how to. He's just kind of like a laid back. Really can be either really professional or doesn't give a shit. Really, kind of like it depends. Like it's really flexible type of character where like as a cop for like you need to have that kind of flexibility, or if because the forces love to adjust their approach. Whether it's just like you want to be L cops or you want to be super professional, you want to have like top tier skill, like all this stuff where you need to be like versatile in that sense, because it does change and evolve a lot. Like it goes like right now it's super slow burn.
Yeah.
Give it 6 months from now, you're gonna be chasing bank robbers all day. Like it's totally different. It's totally different vibe.
So how do you balance that like as a cop? Because you like you're seeing so like like as a crim state of mind, it's like crims tend to think of like me, like, well, why is this happening to me? But as a cop, you see so many different things. How do you stay like balanced in a sense where you don't become one dimensional? Like how do you still stay flexible in situations? Like you said, in 6 months from now, it's just bank chase. That gets
well, you match energy, right? Like I think the best thing to adapt to the climate is to just match the energy that's put in front of you, and like and kind of gauge like the overall energy of the server. Like are people trying, like if someone's given me like all I need is 1 ounce of energy, and then like I can really expand the situation quite a bit. So if someone's like bitching and saying this guy's an asshole, or like he's talking about how shitty this cop is, it's like, all right, hold that, I'll slow it down, and then I'll like educate them, and I'll be like, yo, this is the reason why, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we saw. We have the evidence here. We have to do this, and kind of like break it down for him. And then it's like, you can really see an attitude shift. And that's what my big approach was as a cop, was to help educate the criminals, to show them why we're doing the things we're doing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to give them advantage, but to give them a bit of perspective on what happened. And like, the matter of like, we had like fucking 2 seconds to respond to this. Like you can't really expect a whole study session on this before we react. Like sometimes it's a bit sloppy, those are the types of things we work on to try to have better snap decisions. But like I found that like if it came down to any one thing you do with like criminals when you're dealing with them, you first either you give them the chance to kind of take the show, you add to it and kind of add your own element to it to try to make it better. But the criminals are setting the scene and the cops are responding, right? Like that's response, that's literally what cops do. sometimes investigations and stuff are a little bit more proactive, but you're still responding to something that's happened. But
yeah.
so you're responding, so naturally you're going to be supporting. So you have to just make sure you're always that supporting role, and you add your own kind of element. You can kind of take the show once you have like an approach to like an arrest or something, but it's a weird animal where there's so many different styles that, like, you know, there's a lot that work, but I found for me as Mac, like educating and, you know, being approachable, being like a good, like knowledgeable cop, that seems to really come across, you know, in all environments really well.
Wow, that's a good approach. That's an elevated approach, because I know even for me, like I just started like playing cop on another server as well.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very you know, and obviously the tier of roleplay is not as high, whatever. But it's like, yeah, like to see the perspective of like a cop, and like, wow, it's like it's easy to get jaded because you just see so much shit. You're just like, wow. So it's definitely good. That's like definitely good advice on like approach to have, like a mindset to have going into a scene.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and you doing that every day. You know.
Point though,
yeah. You know,
you that's where you ask questions. If you don't have that knowledge, that's where you always ask the questions. Be like, what's our approach to this? What's our goal? You know, like that's what, as a cadet, they should just never stop asking questions. You should always be like, why this? What are we doing here? How do we do this? Like, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, and just really, and it's so weird because it's so second nature to a lot of cops. Some cops just don't know how to verbalize it. You need to have someone you can really communicate with too. You know what I mean? It's like, I've done this for years. I just don't know how to say it out loud though.
Yeah. That's great.
That's why I really like getting into training, because I feel like I'm pretty decent at like kind of explaining things in that way.
So for you, what's your plans? Like, what's your character's plans for like 4.0?
For Gomer, honestly, it's been, right now it's just network in a way, like not necessarily. I was doing a bunch of grime runs. I was getting some cash. All that cash is in other people's hands right now, so it's like, all right, well now I'm kind of broke, so I might do a little work, but it was the past few days I've just kind of been floating around and seeing what the hell's going on the server, and you know, it's just kind of vibing out to see where the criminal direction's gonna end up going.
Yeah.
It's sounds like it's just gonna be like kind of chipping to buy a house, and then we'll probably see where that goes.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then
it's very civilian right now though.
Yeah. So are you bringing Mac back?
Max, I've created him. He's applied and everything, and actually went back to the PD last night and talked to Bayo's character, who's the Shift 3 cat, or not Bayo, Iceman's character. I think Wyatt. I don't know. I forget his name exactly, but yeah, it's there's, you know, he went in there yesterday to just kind of be like, hey, you know, just want to be a face. I didn't meet the captain yet. I'd like to, you know, say hello and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a bit more of a New York approach. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? You know,
yeah.
Look, I was back from New York. I was over there for 5 years, and I was like, so I'm like doing this whole, you know, I'm trying to adjust the character because I know they want a bit of a different style of the characters, and then just be the same cop back in 4, and then it'll just be 3.0 again.
Yeah. Awesome.
So